So obviously we've not chatted for a couple of weeks. So have you been watching stuff?
Oh God, I've got a list a mile long. It's like,
I cut
I'll
mine
do
down, so I've only got a bit of
yeah,
it.
I'll do the highlights of what I've watched. I did watch the new Alan Partridge series called How Are You? And Alan Partridge obviously claims this is Britain's first documentary on mental health. I laughed from start to finish. 6 episodes on iPlayer. They're half an hour each, so you can zip through them. And Partridge is still just one of the funniest things on television. Like, he's just so good at sending himself up, those odd little looks to camera, the terrible interactions with the public. Like, I will never tire of watching it. So that's definitely worth seeking out as well. I started watching It, Welcome to Derry. The first episode of that has dropped. It is excellent. It does enough sort of like scene setting without spelling things out for you as well. And the first episode I thought was quite scary. There was a couple of jump scares that I was just like, oh, don't know where this is going. I don't like this. So I think this is going to be a really good series. Like, I have high hopes for it, so don't let me down with the rest of the episodes. In terms of horror, I've watched quite a lot, obviously, because we've been in spooky season. So I'll just run through these. Psycho, The Silence of the Lambs, The Thing, the original Frankenstein, The Ring, and Saint Maud, and 30 Days of Night, all of which are classics and obviously have to be watched every October. 2 standouts, though, in the past wee while is I saw I Swear, which is the Scottish film about the young man that grows up with Tourette's. That is a serious contender for top 3 of the year, never mind top 10. It is absolutely brilliant. And the lead actor in that, Robert Aramayo, I did not know wasn't Scottish. That's how good his Galashiels accent is. Like, Maxine Peake's is touch and go at times. His is absolutely flawless. Like, it's such a good film, and I'm so glad that it actually got a cinematic release. And the other standout was Pillion, and that's not just because Alexander Skarsgård gets his bits out. It is a genuinely great film. Like, there's such levity in it. Like, it's genuinely funny, but there are times where it's really dark and really emotional. And yeah, as a British film, obviously, and it's a queer film, and it's taking a look at relationships that are perhaps slightly less orthodox or conventional, rather. And I just think it hits all of the emotional beats that it needs to without ever straying into like cliche or cheesiness or tropes or anything like that. It's so well done. And Harry Melling, who I believe is part of the Harry Potter franchise at one point, is absolutely brilliant in it as well. So very strong performance from him. And as part of All Day Horror Madness, which is where I've picked up this sexy husk, my 3 standouts were The Living Dead at Manchester Morgue, because the director obviously just went, do accents, and everyone complied, but he didn't tell them which accents, so it was all over the place. It was camp, it was kitsch, it was bloody. I absolutely loved it. Demons, which is an Italian giallo film set in a cinema, people trapped in a cinema, and there's obviously ghosts in the film that they're watching that sort of like come to life through the screen. It was absolutely brilliant. I loved it. And Sleepaway Camp, which was a first-time watch for me, and I'm glad I went into it completely blind, because it was like proper 80s, like every teacher looked like a pedo. They all had really short shorts on, and they were very smarmy. There was mean girls, there was murders going on, and the ending got such an amazing gasp in the audience at the GFT that it was so good to experience it on the big screen. So that's just a few of what I've been watching, because I feel like if I actually went through my whole list, we'd be here for days. So thought I'd give you the standouts.
Pretty good, yeah. I was impressed with the lineup at the All Day Horror Fest. I thought that looked pretty good. That's quite a nice thing. I take it was packed.
Absolutely filled to the gunnels. But let me tell you, £27 for a ticket. And there's 6 films shown. There's a raffle. There's, you can pop in and out to go and get cups of tea, glass of wine, whatever. It was such good value for money. So if you've never done it before, I would recommend. They also do overnight ones, but I don't think I'd last because I like my bed. But that was a really, really great experience, and yeah, just really good fun. Like, I think with like I said, these kind of films fall into like what I would call like kitsch horror. And so to experience that with an audience who are sort of laughing and gasping and, interacting the way you would want them to be, everyone like very respectful and all that sort of thing. It was a really good cinematic experience. So, yeah.
Yeah. Sounds quite similar to the Fright Fest strand that they do at the film festival, and that's over like 3 days, I think, isn't it? And that they basically take over GFT1 for like 12 hours at a time. And I know some people go to that and they sit in the same seat that they for every film, and they just, as you say, just drop in and out to refuel before the next one in order to watch it. And it's just this crazy 3-day sort of mini festival. And so I know Fright Fest is obviously a big thing like down in London and everything as well, but it's like a sort of wee mini version of that. And you get to see a lot of indie horror films, and they're the kind of things that end up on Shudder or Amazon or something like that. They don't seem to get like big sort of cinematic releases, but there are occasional breakout films and things like that you get in there as well. So yeah, that sounds excellent. I like sort of like 4 and 5 in a row. It's kind of like, that's kind of the kind of thing we do at the press days and things like that as well. It's usually like 4 days, 4 films in a day, 3-4 films, whatever. So yeah, it's all good. Definitely is. For myself, TV wise, I've been watching Peacemaker. Been still catching up on that. It's really good. I'm really enjoying that. It's an awful lot of fun. I like the way that the characters are developing in it, and they do kind of play it for laughs. It's got the same sort of level of humour that you get in a lot of the James Gunn things. So yeah, that's definitely good. Really enjoy that. Finished off Slow Horses, the latest season of that, which 6 episodes.
There's a new season coming, isn't there?
There is, yeah. They're just keeping making them, because every season at the end of it they have next season on Slow Horses, and it's like actual footage from it. So they make them one after the other. They do them pretty closely, and everybody that's involved in it is happy doing it, apparently, because you've got Jack Lowden and you've got Gary Oldman as well, and they both said, "Yep, we love doing this. We'll do it as long as they want us to make it." So there's doesn't seem to be the same sort of level of ego. And obviously Jack Lowden's making a name for himself in his own right with the likes of Tornado and like a lot of other things. He's sort of forging a path, isn't he, in sort of indie cinema. So, but he seems to be quite happy to continue doing this. And I think there's a new thing that he's going to be. What's it? I can't remember, but there's some.
He's in Pride and Prejudice. He's been cast as Mr. Darcy.
Yes,
in that.
But there's another thriller thing that he's involved in, and it's on Apple, and it's based on a book series or something as well.
Is he not doing the Bernie Gunther novels?
He is. That's what I was thinking of. Yes.
Yeah. So because I will be watching them for sure.
Yeah, and that's probably going to be next year. I would imagine probably by this time next year, by the time that they come out. So yes, excellent stuff. I started watching Blue Lights, the Northern Ireland police drama.
Oh, everyone's talking
set in
about
Belfast.
This.
Yeah, that was basically why I watched it, because Leslie watched the first season of it, and she says, "Oh, you need to watch this. It's really good." And I'd thought it was just going to be a sort of standard, UK type police drama, but it's much better than that, because it's very specific to Belfast and Northern Ireland. So there's a different sort of dynamic to it, because everybody hates the police, because the police are obviously, they were involved in all the armed forces and all that, and they were used in the same way against like the communities and everything. So it's like sort of modern policing based around like one shift of a response unit, and it's really, really good. It's excellent stuff. 6 episodes in a season, so you can zip through it, and you do kind of get really engaged with the characters as well. So I was pleasantly surprised. I thought it was just going to be okay, but it is really good. So there's 3. I think the 3rd season's just aired on the BBC, and it's all on iPlayer as well. So yeah, that's definitely worth the watch.
Do you find yourself doing the accent afterwards?
Oh, I can't do it. I tried to do the accent, and I just get told, no, that's a crime against Ireland. Please do not do that in public.
Yeah.
Someone will be offended, even if they're not Irish. So, also started watching the new season of The Diplomat on Netflix, the Kerry Washington and Rufus Sewell drama. It's kind of a light drama, but it's crazy. It's just all over the place with what happens, and considering that in real life the American ambassador to the UK it's not a political appointee, it's a vanity employee for someone who's supported. It's been like that for a wee while. It's not just Trump. They usually give these appointments to people who back them, the donors and things like that. They end up being ambassadors because it's not really a role at all. But this is a career CIA officer who is now being feted for the vice president role. So they have to work in political systems to be able to show that they can actually do this type of job. And it's good, and it's a bit out there, but it's pretty decent.
That's the Omen, isn't it? That's his position, Gregory Peck's position in the Omen.
Yes,
They're grooming
exactly.
him for, I just thought of that there.
Exactly
actually.
the same. Yeah. So that's all right. It's again, it's only like 6-8 episodes, and you can zip through them in 40 minutes time on Netflix. So yeah, it's all good. Watched a documentary called what was it? It was a mob documentary on Netflix. It's about the Philadelphia mob. It's a 3-part thing, and it's how the police and the FBI tried to bring down the Philadelphia mob in the 1980s. And it's all this investigative reporting and like bugging all their hangouts and things like that, and all this sort of stuff. And it's really, really good. It's a cracking wee documentary. It's only 3 parts. And it talks about all the sort of major figures and how they got to them and how they struggled to actually get convictions, and convictions were squashed or quashed, I should say. And it's just this, it's actually a similar sort of thing. They've done, like the John Gotti one, it's kind of the similar sort of thing to that. Lots of archive footage because it was 80s and the 90s. So you've got a lot of bloody CCTV footage and news footage, because all these gangsters were well known in the local news and everything. They knew all the news reporters by their first names and everything. So, they're all larger than life sort of characters. They weren't in the shadows in the background. Same sort of idea as the Gotti thing, because he was this larger than life character. People knew who he was. So there's all these guys that they all knew who they are, and it's typical Italian names and everything. It's just it's pretty decent. Not too bad at all. And the new series of High Potential has started on Disney, which is the one about she doesn't work for the police. She's a consultant, and she's got this very high IQ and can figure out things that are going on. It's based on a French series called HPI, which is basically about people with such a high IQ that their brain doesn't rest until they can figure out problems and sort of solve things. It's not really seen as being a benefit. It's more been seen as something that's really, really bad, because they can't switch off from this sort of stuff. And she's doing this in terms of the sort of crimes and everything, and there was overarching storylines and things like that as well, which is good. So that started the second series, but that's kind of a thing that you can just kind of watch casually. It doesn't take up a whole lot of attention. You don't need to be totally aware of what's going on with it all the time. So movie-wise, I saw Roofman, Channing Tatum film about the guy who basically, he was called Roofman because he broke into the likes of McDonald's and Burger King's through the roof, but he was very polite about what he was doing as well, because what he would do is he'd break into a McDonald's before it opened, and then when the employees come in, he would put them all in the back freezer so he could take all the money and get away. And he'd phone the police and say there's people in the freezer, but he would make sure they had coats on and everything so that they wouldn't get really cold. So, but he get jailed, he get caught, and he was jailed, and then he escaped from jail, and he lived inside a Toys R Us store for 6 months. This is based on a true story, but during that time he got involved with the woman and her family and their religious community and everything like that, and was attending church with her and going trick-and-treating and all this sort of stuff. So it's that story about how he is sort of on the lam, and he has to sort of hang about because he's waiting for a guy to turn up that has like a fake passport and all this sort of stuff. But yes, it's a decent film. Channing Tatum is really, really good in it.
It does look good, yeah.
It's worthwhile. Watched the film called Really. Don't know if you've seen that at all.
No.
It has, I should tell you in a sec who's actually in it. It's Riz Ahmed is in that film, and it's basically the premise is there is a guy who acts as a middleman between corporations and sort of whistleblowers and for former whistleblowers, in order for the companies to get documentation back that is very bad for them. And the whistleblowers they've decided that they were going to be whistleblowers, but then they changed their mind and all they want is a quiet life because they're getting pressure from these companies. So this guy acts as a middleman in order for information to get sent back to the companies, and also protects the whistleblower as well. So he's like a broker. And the story is around, I think it's a pharmaceutical company who is chasing after this woman who is a doctor, and she's found that there's, some of the data that they produced is completely false and people's lives will be at risk. And this is Lily James in this role. And so he has to protect her from the company, and there's a group of people who are looking for her, who is led by Sam Worthington. He's the sort of leader of these sort of people with specialist skills, if you like. And it's like basically a cat and mouse game about how they do this. And the really part of it is all conversations are done through this really organization. It's really there for like deaf people to have people who are deaf and people who have got problems with their speech in order to speak to other people. And they phone up the relay service, they type into a wee computer what they're trying to say, and that person relays that to the person at the other end of the line. They speak to the person. So, and it's untraceable, the calls as well, into the relay service. They can't get subpoenas or anything in order to get it. And obviously these companies can't do it anyway. So it's all that, this sort of cat and mouse game. Pretty decent thriller, actually. Pretty good. Riz Ahmed is really, really good in it. And Lily James is, she's good anyway, so let's face it. So yes, I would recommend that if you get the chances. I think it was only in cinemas for maybe like a couple of weeks, and I think it's probably dropped out already. But it won't be long before it is on streaming services, I would imagine. It's probably one of these ones that will turn up in Amazon in about 3 weeks or something. I saw Shelby Oaks, the horror film.
Oh, that's Chris Stuckman, the YouTuber.
Yes.
That does film reviews. How is that?
It's good. It's kind of a found footage type of film. There's a group of paranormal investigators who disappear. They're called the paranormal paranoids, and they go and investigate sort of like haunted houses and things like that, and they all disappear in 2008. And the bodies of 3 of them turn up about 6 months later, completely mutilated. But the lead character in it, she just disappears. Hadn't seen anything from her. And then about 12 years later, a videotape turns up of the final night of her being in this house and what's actually going on in it. So it was delivered to her sister, and her sister then goes and investigates and tries to figure out what's going on and all that. It's quite an effective, creepy, really sort of a grungy wee horror film. It was pretty good, and it was kind of unsettling as well, because obviously they're using a mixture of found footage and being in this sort of almost haunted house. So and it's in the middle of nowhere, and you've got all the winds and creaks and the shadows and all this sort of stuff. But yeah, it's pretty decent. I actually pretty enjoyed that. Thought that was pretty good. On the other hand, The Black Phone 2, I don't know if have you seen that yet?
No, but are you going to tell me it's bad? Oh,
it's not good. It really isn't good.
We all liked the first one, didn't we?
That's the part of the problem, because it was so high. The Black Phone, great film, mostly set in one location. It was very creepy. This one is expanded. It's about 4 years later. He's still getting phone calls on phones that are out of order. But his sister is more of a character in this one. She's the main character in this, and it's she gets a phone call from her mother from 40 years ago, because the mother had the same sort of gifts, if you remember, and she'd killed herself, and that was part of why it was just the family unit of the 2 kids and the father. So it's kind of expanded on that, and it just doesn't work in the same way. There's a big sort of scene at the end, a big sort of fight at the end, and it just doesn't work in the same way. And it goes into the history of the main character in it as well, with the mask, where did he come from and all that. And it's not at the same level at all. It really isn't. Some of the performances are good, but it was just a bit of a missed opportunity, to be honest, because they tried to expand things, they tried to make it bigger. They obviously made bigger roles, like for the lead female and everything, but nah, it's
a bit like what we said about Aunt Gladys from Weapons. Like, I don't need an explanation for where that character came from. I can just accept that there's a bad man out there, if you want to put it in sort of layman's terms. That's disappointing.
Yes, as obviously watch it, make up your own mind. You may enjoy it better than I did. But I was pretty disappointed with it based on the fact that I loved the first film. I thought it was really good because it was tight and controlled, and it didn't go into and a lot of it was to do with the fact that he was speaking on a phone that didn't really connect to anything. Now it's called Black Phone 2, but you only see the black phone for about 2 minutes in the film because they revisit the house that everything took place in. The rest of the time it's not really that at all, and it doesn't quite work in the way that I was kind of hoping for. So that was a bit of a disappointment. Another sort of slight disappointment was Good Fortune, the Keanu Reeves, Seth Rogen film where Keanu's an angel trying to right wrongs, and it's actually quite a decent premise because he's trying to help. He's a very low level angel, I should say, who all he does is stop people having accidents when they're texting and driving at the same time by gently tapping them on the shoulder so they look up and they avoid crashing into something. But he wants to save souls, so he sees this guy who thinks he's at his lowest ebb, and he tries to save his soul. And he says, you just need to be happy. You need to enjoy your life and everything. But in order to do that, what he does is he swaps him with this Seth Rogen character, who's this sort of tech bro and has everything, has more money than he knows what to do with. So he swaps them in order to, that sort of, It's a Wonderful Life, sort of reverse A Wonderful Life. This is, you could have all this money and everything, but it's not going to make you happy. But obviously when he gets all the money and everything, he thinks, this is brilliant. So he doesn't want to go back. And Seth Rogen, he inhabits the other person's lifestyle, the kind of swap. And it's all about how he's trying to get him to go back to the way he was because he's not really happy. And he's saying, no, I'm perfectly happy. I really get I don't want to go back. So there's some nice comedic elements in it, but it's a bit on the nose in terms of like the tech bro goes back to doing like sort of work in the gig economy, doing like food deliveries and everything like that, and how that's phased out in terms of bringing in robots in order to do these kind of things as well. But one of the things that he invested in was food delivery companies, and he's doing all this. So it's kind of like, there's a wee bit of like a moral message in there that you kind of saying, well, do you really need this? Because you kind of know everything's going. But it was okay. It was fairly decent. I saw an absolutely dreadful film called Alarum. It's called Alarum. Yeah, Alarum.
Oh,
it's Scottish.
So not the Scottish pronunciation of the word alarm.
Alarum. No,
Alarum.
Yeah, it's a secret spy organization.
Okay.
And there are sort of two. Scott Eastwood plays a guy who, in the very first scene of it, he's on a mission and he gets shot by this woman and then ends up going away with this woman, and they have a relationship and they go and live together away from everything for 5 years, but then the past catches up on them, and the likes of Sylvester Stallone and Mike Coulter, who are agents, are sent in to eliminate him, or eliminate her and possibly him, because she's definitely part of the rival organization. He may have been turned, and it's shite. It's just,
it sounds terrible, I won't lie. From what you've described,
bog
it sounds
standard action film where nothing really makes sense, and it's really just a bit of a waste of time. Similarly, I saw a film called Osiris, which is like a Call of Duty game made into a film, and it's basically special forces who are working in some unnamed Middle Eastern city, and they're on the run because they are being pursued by hordes and hordes of people trying to kill them in this unknown mission. And then they get beamed up onto a spaceship. And and then it turns out it's like this sort of Predator style film where they are having to survive on this spaceship where these aliens are trying to kill them. And it's basically just it's almost like cutscenes from Call of Duty, because it's just all, like, there's a bit of dialogue, and then it's just fight scenes that could be from a game. And this is 95, 100 minutes worth of this, and it's just nonsense. And there's no anybody knowing it. The production values are really good in it. It was a really cheap film. It was made for about $6-7 million, so it looks really good based on its budget, but it's just a terrible film. And there's room for a sequel from something that happens at the very end of it as well, and you're just going, oh no. But yeah, it wasn't particularly good, and you knew exactly, like, there's a group of about 5 special ops guys, and you know the order in
They're
which they're going to get killed. Just waste
that
of time.
sounds
Total waste of
like
time,
something Simmy would watch.
Yes, yeah.
That's me being mean. Sorry, Simmy.
Yeah, so obviously for Halloween I watched a couple of horror films. I rewatched Heretic last night.
Nice.
With Leslie, which still stands up.
Yeah.
Because obviously it was one of my favourite films from last year. I think it was in my top 10, obviously. And yeah, it's really good. You know, Hugh Grant is just fantastic in that film. I mean, obviously we've talked about it at length. Yeah. So watched that again, and I watched Don't Look Now as well on Friday night, which is creepy as hell, rather than being like scary and jump. Obviously, it's made in the 1970s, so it's a different vibe to the film, and it's shot in a different way. And obviously, using Venice in the winter time is very good as well, because obviously there was a Poirot film that was set in Venice in the winter time. So yeah, it's a completely different type of city then as well. And obviously Donald Sutherland is just amazing.
It's fantastic, and it's a great film.
Great hair.
Really
hair
good hair
in it as well. Yeah. So yes, and it's surprisingly touching in places as well, obviously, because it's all surrounding the death of the child and everything like that as well. So yeah, I was very good. Really, really enjoyed that. And book-wise, I've started reading The Looming Tower as well.
Oh, what a great book.
Yeah, so I've just started that based on your recommendation from some time ago, and obviously Simi had mentioned it as well, because I was going to watch the 4-part drama based on it, but I'm going to read the book first because, as you said at the time, there is a lot more depth in the book than there is actually in the TV show. So yes, so that's me.
That is on like elevated Halloween, and obviously you're doing your homework first before you go into a new series. No, that's a great book, and it's one of these books as well. Though, like if you've ever read like Tim Marshall's like The Power of Geography and stuff like that, you look at stuff that's happening sort of contemporaneously in the world, and you go, I remember that chapter that I read that said, like, you know, the British fucked up by doing blah, blah, blah. I mean, we're accountable for so much of what's happening. But yeah, a good read, and definitely one that will make you just like form a slight tinfoil hat, but in a good way.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm getting that already from the opening couple of chapters, about how America got involved with so many different things after the Second World War. And obviously, and something that's obviously relevant just now about the Palestinian state and how Israel was created and all this sort of stuff, and how the Americans were instrumental in that, as well as the British, obviously, because they were there during the war and after the war, and they were all involved in setting up. But yes, that is kind of a tin hat material.
Yes, there's a new film out about that with Jeremy Irons and Robert Aramayo, who's an I Swear, and Sally Bakri, who's the Palestinian actor whose work I saw at the film festival, just called Palestine 6. That's out, I think, this Friday.
Okay.
I wonder how many cinemas will be brave enough to show it.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of cinemas, when I went to see Frankenstein, I went to the Showcase Cinema to see it, which is out at Coatbridge.
Yes, yeah.
And I hadn't been there for a number of years, and before it was all right. It was a bit shitty, to be honest. But they've really upped their game. They've got recliner seats in all the cinemas now, and they're actually decent prices for the films as well, because you can join their sort of insider program, and it's free to join, and you can get tickets for films that are like £3 off. Like £7.99 is a standard price, and the insider price is £5. I was thinking
that's really good.
Bad. Yeah. So yeah, they've really upped their game in terms of the actual cinema experience. The cinema was really, really nice, and it looked pretty new and everything as well. So I don't know if it's relatively recent that they actually upgraded it. Apparently, they've gone along the same lines as the Odeon, and that they've just put recliners in all of the cinemas.
Everywhere.
Yeah. I was very, very impressed by it. You know, obviously you still have to go to Coatbridge to actually, get to it, which is a wee bit out of the way, but yeah.
Yeah. But that's because I looked into what you said about the Omniplex thing. They're like their equivalent of the limited card. Like, it's not good. Like, as you've said, like the options aren't the same. Whereas the Cineworld, I do feel like you get like bang for your buck, as it were, with the unlimited card. But I don't know. I mean, Silverburn presumably is here to stay because they're investing in putting in more of the VIP screens. But it does make it problematic in the sense that with those screens in place, it means there's going to be less screens for everything that's not a blockbuster, essentially. So I'm just trying to sort of look around and see what's available from other corporates, basically.
Yes, yeah, you've got the likes of the Everyman, but that's like about £14-15. The Odeon is quite expensive as well. I think Silverburn will still be a good shout because, yes, they will have more VIP screens, but they're upgrading pretty much all of their screens as well. They're refurbing quite a few of them. Sort of they're not terribly old or anything, but some of them have been there a good few years, and you can tell the one where the press screening is, which is number 6. It's not shabby by any means, but yeah, some of the seats in it there was at least 2 seats that were broken in it, and they were obviously trying to fix them. And I think I was just trying to keep them going until they replaced them. And it's just sort of standard seating in these ones. But yeah, it's good enough, but it is quite a small screen, or it's quite a small auditorium. The screen size obviously is pretty good and all that, and the sound is excellent in it. But yeah, I think Silverburn's probably still the best shout for you, to be perfectly honest. Yeah. But yeah, and the unlimited card is good in that for their standard seats, it's the same price. It's only and for... Is it super screen after a year or something? You get the super screen ones as well.
It's free. Yeah.
It's only the uplift for the 3D, which you don't show anymore, and for the VIP ones. So there's an uplift in those. So it's the majority of them, whereas the Omniplex ones, it's very limited seating that you can get with the card. So those are going to be the worst seats. They're probably the ones down at the very front, and also they will sell out really quickly compared to the other seats. So
yes, you're going to have to pay extra for the other ones anyway. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm glad there's still going to be a cinema in town, like, because it would, quite frankly, it would be a disgrace if there wasn't. I know the GFC is in town as well, but that's, if you want to go and see a big blockbuster, that's not going to be the place where you go and see it. So, but yeah, their pricing options don't look amazing, so we'll see how it goes.